to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Regions. Our show, as you know, focuses on workplace and workforce trends. And we are still recording these episodes in the time of the COVID-19 shutdown. I talk to you right now from my home recording office, and if you could see this place, you would realize that it is very non-professional, yet that's where I'm relegated to recording these things. The upside of this whole COVID-19 situation is that so many of the people that we've tried to get on the phone are available. They are like you and me, perhaps. They're shut down. They're sitting at home. They're looking for stuff to do. So we pick up the phone and say, hey, we'd like you to be on the show. And they say, oh, thank you. Thank you. I've been looking for something to do. And today is perhaps one of those cases. And I'll tell you about our guest momentarily. She's really quite impressive. But let me give you the downside of this home office recording environment, and that is this. In the background, you could hear one of many different things that are reflective of working out of home in our days these days. One of those things could be my children bickering with one another. One of them could be the garage door opening or doors closing. One of them could be the unmistakable sound of my children on the trampoline in the backyard as it makes that crunching sound over and over and over again. And another sound you may hear is me knocking on the window trying to get those children's attention to say, cut it out, let me finish this recording first. Nevertheless, that is the world that we're in today, and I beg your patience and I beg your forgiveness if this gets in the way of your enjoyment or attention of the show. Now, let's get into the content today. And this is perhaps a strange way to begin. I have a wallet in my pocket that I've had for, I'd say, 6 or 8 years. Prior to that, I had the same wallet for 10 or 15 years. I would bet in my entire life I've had no more than 5 different wallets. Handbags for my wife are a completely different thing. Now, thankfully, she's much more practical on her selection of handbags. But I do have to look and say, gosh, that's a new one. What happened to the old one? I've had my wallet, which holds very valuable, personal, precious things. I've had my wallet for years. Why do we need new ones? I don't get it, but I wish I could make money on it. And today we're going to have a woman that has her own collection of handbags and carries and totes. She lives in Fairhope. She's been featured in a lot of different retail magazines across the state, as well as locally, on her designs, as well as the extraordinary growth of her business. This is Mary Beth Greene, and she has created a series or a line of products that are carried by some of the nation's largest retailers. And they are, quite frankly, doing very well. I'm interested to learn how the supply system, the supply chain may have impacted her during this time of COVID-19. I'm interested in what she's going to do with all her inventory if people aren't out there shopping. I'm interested to see if she's had an explosion of online sales as a result of our time these days. And I'm interested to see where she gets these designs. And I look at these products with envy, knowing that people, if they like them, aren't going to buy one. They're going to buy the first one. And then the second one will be down the road a little while later. And the third one would be down the road again a little while later. This is going to be a fun and interesting story from a person who creates a product that I've always admired due to the customer's need to get simply more than one. You're listening to What's Working. What's Working is brought to you by Regions. And if you want to get involved, email me, Cam, C-A-M, at whatsworkingcam.com. You can also find us on Instagram, where we put pictures of our people and our guests and what's upcoming. Instagram, you can find us as What's Working with Cam Marston. There are no spaces nor apostrophes in that. And on Facebook, you can search What's Working with Cam Marston in the search bar, and you'll get our show. We'll have Mary Beth Greene on the line when we come back. You're listening to What's Working, brought to you by Regions.
Think about how people really see you. The kid at the drive-thru just sees a coffee drinker.
Please pull forward.
Your local barista sees the person who loves a smiley face in their latte.
See you next time.
It's kind of the same way with insurance. Other insurance companies just see a customer, but a State Farm agent sees more. They see you as a neighbor. Your State Farm agent is here to get to know who you really are, so they can help life go right.
Call me, State Farm agent Allison Horner, in Mobile at 666-1616.
Hi, this is Cam Marston. If you're struggling with management, motivation, recruiting, and retention in today's generationally diverse workplace, My half-day workshop called Leading Multi-Generational Teams will be helpful to you. It's a leadership development course that teaches leadership skills and management insights for all levels of workplace leadership. I'll be holding a course open to the public on Wednesday, August 26th at the Mobile Chamber and invite you to attend or come with members of your leadership team. Seating is limited to 30 people, so call the Chamber ASAP to get pricing info and to reserve your seats early. This course is one my clients from all over the country have enjoyed and bring me back to deliver time and time again. It's interactive, very fast-paced, and lots of fun. Again, Wednesday, August 26th at the Mobile Chamber of Commerce, or go to whatsworkingcam.com to learn more.
Even if we don't meet in person, Regions is still here for you. We make it easier for you to stay informed and in control with online and mobile banking. You can check balances, transfer money, pay bills, deposit checks with Regions Mobile Deposit, and even set up helpful alerts no matter where you are. We're here to make it easier to bank your way. Learn more at regions.com/tools. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
We're back. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Regions, and on the line with me is Mary Beth Greene of MB Greene Handbags. Mary Beth, thank you so much. Welcome to What's Working.
Thank you, Cam. I'm happy to speak with you today.
So we have a lot of folks that are usually business to business. Their focus is business to business on the show. You're kind of one of the exceptions to us in that you're business to consumer and very, very interested in the retail world. It's very difficult to find designs that people like, to find designs that organizations, stores want to carry. But before we get into your strategy on that, tell me the story. I love the stories. Tell me the story of how you began, why you began, and perhaps when you knew things might get good, that this might work.
Well, just to even give you one more layer of background, I was actually a secondary high school teacher. I was a high school teacher for 3 years and then was at home with my 2 boys and starting a family. And then I began to get ready to dip my toe back into the professional world. And I was a sales rep at America's Mart. Many of you have heard people reference, I'm going to market. And that was exactly where I went twice a year in January and July, where I was a sales rep for 11 years for a showroom at Market in Atlanta. And I would call on boutiques throughout Alabama and Mississippi. And probably the last 4 years of my 11-year sales rep career, I would hear my stores ask me, do you have a bag line? Does your showroom sell a bag line that we could sell here in our store? And it really and truly became comical that every time I would leave an appointment, that question always came up. And so I really started thinking about designing something to fill the need that was obviously a void in the marketplace. And for about 2 years, I would just design for fun at my kitchen table at home. And of course, like anything else, 2 years went by quickly. And all of a sudden I had some prototypes and I found myself asking other people that I had repped for over the years who manufactured their products and just really began just asking a lot of questions. And the next thing I knew, I had a prototype from a factory, and that was in 2014 when I first showed that to the other reps in the showroom that I had been working with for 11 years. And they were all super excited and said, we love it. Can we launch in January? Because that would have been our next market. And so, it was at that moment that I was so excited. And I had already warned my corporate America husband that if they say yes, I'm doing it. And he just looked at me like, really? And so it was so exciting in July of 2014 when they said yes. And I called him and said, I'm doing it. And he said, well, we'll talk about it when you get home. I was like, no, we're doing it. And so, so it was an exciting time. Obviously, it was truly when you realize that, all of this time that I had been sort of designing for fun at my kitchen table was really about to have potential to turn into something, And for me, after repping all those years and hearing the feedback from customers, whether it was stores or customers who shopped at those stores, I had a lot of confidence going in. And I still poke at Brett, my husband, for his reaction, but he had not built up this confidence over the years of hearing the feedback like I had.
Right.
And so, a lot of people have asked, was it scary? Was it this? Was it that? And it really never scared me. I was really more excited. It was, just a time where it was exciting to think about launching something at market. And for 11 years, I had a good handle on the wholesale industry. So I felt like, really that it was just a transition for me. It was not really a completely new start. And as I got started, we did launch in January of 2015 at market in Atlanta and at the Dallas market. But when we started, it was fun and exciting. And I really, for the first time, realized just how valuable all of that information was over those 11 years as a sales rep. It was very important to know how to put together a catalog that could be a sales tool, not necessarily a beautiful brochure that showed great lifestyle pictures. It had to be user-friendly for the sales reps. And I knew how to do that because I had been using good and bad catalogs for 11 years. So things like that could sometimes present stumbling blocks for a new product out on the market. Those things really were valuable nuggets of information that made us maybe have a faster start or, to be able to kind of really launch out there faster than most, because it takes a long time to build a brand.
If you're just joining us, I've got Mary Beth Greene on the line with MB Greene Handbags. Is that the business title, Mary Beth, or is it something? Am I mispronouncing that?
No, that's correct. We just call it MB Greene.
MB Greene. And she, like me, is quarantined kind of during the coronavirus COVID-19 thing. And as we talk, where are you working from home right now? I want to follow up on what you just said, but are you working from home right now? Let's give our listeners some perspective of what you are going through at this moment.
Yes, I am working from home and back at the kitchen table where I started.
Very, very good. Full circle. So you launched it in 2015. Where in reading some of the materials sent to me in advance of other interviews, did you have were there upfront costs? Did you have to take loans out? That's a big part of the conversation in our environment today with the Small Business Administration. Did you take loans? Did you know what each bag should cost so that you had the right profit as you sold it wholesale? Tell me about that.
Yes, that was definitely a big part of the equation. The fun part was saying yes and saying I'm going to do this, and then you have to get down to exactly that of, okay, this is fun, but how do you finance this venture? Yeah. So, I was very fortunate that I had very supportive parents. To back up just a bit, that is still part of our story and part of our mission today. But in 2014, during that same exciting time that I just referenced of saying yes to the showroom, I came home that exact same night only to learn that I had tragically lost my sister.
Yes, I read
that very same night.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, of course, she was my only sister. She was 2 years younger than me. And we grew up out in the country in Selma, Alabama, and were best friends. And so that was very tragic and heartbreaking for my family, just as it would be for any family. But you do what you do, and you go into your own hole, and you find a way to heal and to move forward. And my parents were very supportive. And this was one of those things that in the midst of it, you thought, there could not have been a worse time for all of this to collide. But, to look back on it, there could not have been a more beautiful time to pivot for my family and for all of us to have a new adventure. My sister had produced products and had a beautiful line of tabletop dinnerware. Many people may have it in their cabinets at home. It was called M. Bagwell, and she had Christmas collections and everyday collections. And She had a 50-page catalog that was very successful and showed at markets around the country, and her products were actually sold worldwide. So many people were already familiar with her pieces. So it was one of those things where it felt like a fresh new start to something. And this time it was my products. And so my parents were super supportive and said, we think you should move forward with everything that you've been working on for the last 2 years, and we want to support you how we can. So I was very fortunate to have my parents' support, and that also included their financial support, so that I could have a container filled with 16,495 bags was our very first order. And I think, I just referenced my corporate America husband, that he was very afraid because we had, by the end of November of 2014, we had nearly 17,000 bags in storage units in Daphne, Alabama, and we had no orders on the table. So
I'm loving this.
So poor Brett, he laid awake many nights, and I just continued to encourage him that it's all going to be fine. And my family still jokes me. I think it's one of those things I never realized I was saying, but they say that my answer to everything is, it's fine. It's fine. So I was continuing to tell them that it was fine. And we were going to market in January, and we were going to sell bags.
Let's talk about that January sales go-to-market thing. I want to hear your emotions as you stepped in, as you began to show these things. You had a hint that they do well, and I want to hear the play-by-play as you went to market in January. Folks, you're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Regions. On the line, Mary Beth Greene with MB Greene Handbags. We'll be right back.
I'm David Nelson, brewmaster and owner of Braided River Brewing. We want beer that goes along no matter where the adventure takes us, and that doesn't make us choose between great beer and drinkability. We're drawn to the Delta and united by beer, because to us, the best way to celebrate the Delta is to slow down and savor the moments and the beer together. Come visit our tap room in downtown Mobile and ask for us at your favorite bar or restaurant. Visit online at braidedriverbrewing.com.
I'm Matt Armbruster with Ransom Ministries. We help people in our community that most others have given up on. Please donate your unwanted electronics to Ransom Recycling. We teach life skills, job readiness, and job creation through our electronic recycling program. We take anything with a cord. Find us at ransomministries.com, or you can call us at 251-751-0044.
Investing, connecting, leading, providing. The Community Foundation of South Alabama brings together philanthropic assets to make Southwest Alabama a better place to live, work, and play. We link donors to philanthropy. Working with you, we build communities. Contact us at communityfoundationsa.org.
Human Resource Departments spend countless hours on insurance billing mistakes, Obamacare rules, and compliance. Employee benefits serve the purpose of recruiting, retaining, and rewarding employees. We can handle all of your benefit needs with cost-effective products, employee enrollments, and handle your HR issues. Benefit admin doesn't have to be complicated. My name is Michael Cowart Jr. of the Cowart Group, and we specialize in helping businesses with their employee benefit packages. Visit cowartassociates.com.
Mary Beth Greene is the leader of MB Greene Handbags, and she's right in the middle of telling us how they went to market. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Regions. Mary Beth, tell me about going to market. This is fantastic.
Well, we went to market for our very first time in Atlanta. This was January of 2015. And as I mentioned, I had been a rep for 11 years for a showroom in Atlanta. So when I showed up to market, I was actually wearing two hats for the first time ever. I was there as the rep, but I also took a girl who had been helping me here in Fairhope to kind of prepare for the launch. And she went with me and actually worked our space where the bags were all displayed in the showroom. A little background on the showroom, it's called a multi-line showroom. So there were probably 25 different vendors all set up with their own like little vignettes there for the shoppers, the wholesale buyers to come in and shop the showroom. And so in our MB Greene space that was displayed with all of our styles and colors, everything was there for the buyers to see. So she was there sort of as the face of the bags because I was still working the entire showroom as the Alabama and Mississippi rep. The showroom knew that if things were a hit, that I would transition and that I would be willing to trade the rep hat for the vendor hat.
Yeah.
But we wanted to play it smart. And plus my customers and I had a great relationship after 11 years. And so they were planning to visit the showroom and expect to work with me. I knew their stores, I knew their needs and that type of thing. So we did that. And when Atlanta market was over, I immediately flew to Dallas from Atlanta. And so that was really my first time to really be the face of the bags and to stand there and truly sell my creations. And so that was probably even more exciting than working with sort of my home team in Atlanta, because that was the first time that I was really the designer and the owner of MB Greene and got to stand there and talk to customers about our story and about our products. And so that was when we launched. We had a super great response. All the feedback was great. Another thing I knew from being a sales rep, and that was why we had our 17,000 bags in storage by the end of November of 2014, was because I knew when buyers walked up at market and wanted to place an order that one of the first questions they always ask is, when will this ship? And I knew that we had to say, it's in stock and it can ship today.
Yeah.
That was important. And we couldn't depend on all of the different variables because our products are made in China. And I knew that there was transit time and customs and factories. And there were too many variables to say, we'll ship April 1st, but we'll let us take your order today.
Right.
And especially in today's world, none of us like that. We want it now,
Sure.
And so that was one reason we had to place that large order and get that container before we ever went to market. So that was our launch in January. And then it was in March that we got the call from Neiman Marcus.
Yeah.
And yes, so that was just, super mind blowing. I mean, I think it took me 2 weeks of walking around the house in circles, just scratching my head going, Neiman Marcus, like the real Neiman Marcus.
Right.
And so, but the Dallas showroom had a key account sales rep there in the showroom. And of course, being based in Dallas, she had a great relationship with them. And she called me one day and said, hey, Neiman Marcus is interested, but you're new and they're concerned. Are you able to ship? And I said, oh, yes, of course. And so they ended up talking and they settled on a monogram drop ship program. And so the Neiman Marcus customer actually orders our products either through the catalog or through the Neiman Marcus online monogram shop. And we actually personalize in our office in Fairhope and drop ship to the Neiman Marcus customer.
That's impressive. That's really impressive. Now, was there a moment in Dallas or in Atlanta where you said, yep, this is going to work? Was there a size of an order or the eagerness on their face? Was there an order in which you said, yep, this is going to work? The risk factor has just dropped significantly.
Right. I think more than anything, just all of the things that are important even in the design phase, the price point, the colors, the collection. And those were the things that I was very in tune to as I was designing. And so when the customers were coming and wanting to place an order or even just asking questions, and maybe they didn't place an order that day, but the questions they were asking were hitting on those things that I had been so conscious about. And I felt like that I hit the mark with those things because we didn't get price resistance. We didn't have people that said, oh, wouldn't work for us. We just had very positive feedback. And I felt like that the orders we were receiving at the show were definitely indicators that we were onto something, And so, of course, I came back home from market, and at the time we were working in my 3-car garage at my house, and that was where our office was for the first year. We still had our bags in storage in the different storage units, but we kept a small footprint in the garage. And so that was where all of our orders came from for the very first year.
So when you sell a bag, do you have to teach? Do you also have to sell the, let's say the shelving that it goes on or anything like that? Is it only the bag that they're buying, or do they buy a support system with it, perhaps lights or racks or something like that, or a sign that goes over your bag? And do you have to teach people how to sell the bag? In other words, this is why this bag is different from others. This is the form over the function and anything like that. Or do they just buy it and you really don't know how it's displayed at the retail site?
No, absolutely. And that is a great point, because several of our bags, for instance, I'll use we call it the Vertical Essential, but it's our tall cylinder like bag. It is our number one seller. But when we ship that to customers, the bag is folded flat. And so when we are at trade shows, we make sure to always have that bag actually mocked up with products. And part of our information and sales that we offer the customer when they are standing there even placing the order is it's so important to their success once the product arrives in their store that we explain to them, this will be shipped to you flat, and explain, please mock it up with products and it will blow out of your store. But if you do not mock it up and it's just flat, customers don't understand what it's to be used for. And so then it's just, then we lose that real estate in the store because they just assume, well, they didn't sell. And that's our number one seller. And so we know that if you mock it up, it will sell. So there are things like that are more important. Most of our stores are mom and pop boutique, and many of them, have sort of their own way of displaying. And most of them don't really want sort of that industrial look of shelving or, things like that. They sort of have their own way that fits the vibe and the personality of their store. So more than really offering the shelving and stuff, we definitely encourage them. We do include different little signage with each order. So when the order ships, they actually have an easel back sign that they can put there so that their customer at a quick glance can quickly see, oh, this is what that bag is used for. Oh, this is how much that bag holds. Wow, this is perfect. So we do include things like that at no charge so that our retailers it can be easy for them when they unpack and display our bags. We want to partner with them so that it can be the best business relationship that we can have, because ultimately that is what we want to do, is to build a brand. And we need those retail partners throughout the country to be that retail partner for us. And so we try and do things like that to really let them know that we want to partner with you. We want the products to sell for you, but we also want them to sell so that we can continue to design more and offer different collections and things down the road.
I'm on the line with Mary Beth Greene of MB Greene Handbags. She's based in Fairhope, Alabama. Her bags are sold nationwide and in some pretty remarkable retail outlets that you've heard of before. Mary Beth, how often do you go to the retail locations and just see what's going on out there, what the trends are in retail, how products are changing in the way they're displayed, and how much does that influence how and what you design?
I definitely enjoy doing shopping when I'm vacationing or in other parts of the country that maybe I walk in a store that, I've never been in their store and see our products. So anytime we travel or go to a certain place, I always look on our retail locator and see who might be carrying the products wherever we might be going. But that is the one thing that I probably miss the most now that I am in my office and only going to the trade shows and staying in my own little section the whole time that I'm there. I do miss from the rep days of going in the different retail locations. So I don't get to see things firsthand like I once did as a rep, but I have, it always makes my day when I have text from friends that are traveling and they say, look, I'm in Martha's Vineyard and look what I just found, or I'm in Savannah or wherever they might be. And so it's always exciting. Not only are you hearing from old friends, but when they send you pictures of displays of your products, it makes me really happy. So I do miss not having that one-on-one retailer experience as often as I did. But again, the importance of the trade shows, not only to introduce new product and to hear feedback, but that is really the opportunity that I have to talk to stores and get information when they are at market, and I get to see them face to face there. So I'm not in their store, but that is always, more valuable. And sometimes I come back from market and of course you always wish that you could have had more orders or, whatever, but a trade show experience is all about feedback and hearing what's working for them, what they would like to see, what collections that they are asking for. Because for me, like getting started was a blank canvas, and that was fun. And it was really, I think, easier than than sustaining the business.
Let's talk about that when we get back. I want to talk about sustaining the business. I want to talk about new product development, and if this success in handbags and totes and carries is going to lead you into developing a new line of product that perhaps is in the back of your mind. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. On the line with me is Mary Beth Greene of MB Greene Handbags. Follow us online, What's Working with Cam Marston on Instagram, where we will be showing some photos of these bags, and perhaps we can get a link up there to take the people to your website, Mary Beth, and they can see more about this. This is fascinating. When we come back, we'll talk about the future of the business. What's Working is brought to you by Regions. We'll be back.
The Community Foundation of South Alabama links donors to philanthropy, builds networks across 8 counties, and builds dreams for those in need. Through our donors' gifts, we make investments that enhance our community via initiatives with broad impact. Working with you, we build communities. Contact us at communityfoundationsa.org.
Life insurance is one of those subjects that make people want to change the subject rather than admit they probably don't have enough. I'm State Farm agent Allison Horner, and that's why I focus on how the benefits of life insurance actually live on by asking people to think in terms of life without having to sell the house insurance, or life without having to give up college insurance. Find out how the benefits of life insurance can live on for your family. Call me, State Farm agent Allison Horner, and get to a better state with State Farm.
That's the sound of rush hour. Hello, recess. Mom! Work from home is a lot of work. Even though we're a little further apart right now, we're still in this together. Regions is donating this ad to local food banks to shine a light on them as they feed our neighbors in need. Learn how you can help or get help at regions.com/foodbank. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Mary Beth Greene owns MB Greene Handbags. They make handbags and totes and things of this nature available in retail locations all over the nation, as well as major retail stores that you've certainly heard of, Neiman Marcus being one of them. Mary Beth, I'm curious if there's a plan for a new line based on the success that you've had with the bags and the totes. Do you see this becoming, a brand of luggage, let's say? I'm just making stuff up. Where's this going to go?
Well, Cam, that is such a great question. And I think that as a business evolves, that sometimes it evolves based on what your customers continue to ask for. And when you look at your your inventory and your books, and you realize, well, this is what's working, or this is the color that everyone seems to be drawn to. In the beginning, when you start a business, it's fun. It's a blank canvas. And even for me, some of the very first pieces that I did were a tote, a jewelry clutch, a toiletries bag, a large and small zip top, and a duffel bag. And I was really designing, like I said earlier in the show, I was designing based on what I had heard there was a void in the marketplace for. And I wanted it to be more of bags that truly offered function. And so in the beginning, it was easy, but as you get collections and styles and colors, and then you get feedback from customers, it begins to get a little trickier, because now you have a lot more pieces a lot more pieces of information and things that you're working around. But then for me, as a designer and an entrepreneur, some of those challenges are what keep it all fun. So our most recent collection is our Pebble Grain collection, which is totally different from anything we have done. Just to touch on where we really started was our wax canvas bags. What differentiated our products from some of the others is that they were lined with a very nice quality vinyl on the inside. So they were super durable. They were perfect for the ball field, the beach, and anywhere in between. Bright colors, everything was a solid color. At the time when we launched, everything seemed to have a lot of pattern. And so we chose to really only do solid colors. And all of our solid colors could go back and mix and match with things that maybe people had collected over the years that were parts of other brands, and that was fine. But you could also mix and match ours because they had the turquoise handles and details in the zipper. So you could pick different colors in the different styles, but still feel like you had a cohesive set, so to speak. And most people do probably mix and match.
So I think it's interesting, Mary Beth, that you chose solids in a time where everything was patterned. So rather than go with the flow, you went counter to the flow. That's a pretty big risk, isn't it? If people are buying patterns, I would think you would want to throw patterns out there. But instead you said, no, I think people are going to be looking for something different. They're tired of patterns. Is that right? Right. Yes, that was exactly what I was thinking, what I was hoping that people would want solids. Of course, being from the South, and that is where we have our most retailers, we've really just grown from sort of homegrown from the South out, but we know how much people love to personalize. And with monogramming and the personalization that is so popular throughout the South, I thought with a solid color bag, this would be so fun and so personable to be able to have that option to add a personalized feature on the bags, because a lot of our small mom and pop boutiques also offer that in their stores. So we were really hoping to capture some of that business as well by doing the solid colors versus patterns. Yeah, and it seems to have caught on. That's great. So I'm curious if when you sit down to design something new, what is the process? What's the routine that you go through? Yes. So the process really does start just back at the drawing board, literally. And I am more of a hands-on person. And so I really continue to design every collection the same way I designed the very first collection, which is paper, tape, scissors, a stapler. Some of our samples, it's amazing that they ever come back looking anything like what we sent, because I truly design everything from scratch and take bits and pieces of this and that. And rather than sewing it, because I feel like I can manipulate it faster and get to the end result faster when I work with paper versus actually sewing on a sewing machine with fabric. So I usually just design with paper, send it to the factory. We now work with 3 factories in China, and we have a great working relationship with them. And they sew our paper sample into fabric, and then they ship us our first prototype. And then we make changes from that. Typically, we go through about 3 iterations once we have that first sample. If we can do it in 2, that's great. And that's
that doesn't always happen. So from start to finish, when we finally have a product ready to launch, it can take almost a year.
Really?
And again, you don't realize how much time, goes by, but by the time we get a sample made and send that to the factory, and then you get it back from China, that can be a month to 2 months. And then you have that second iteration, and then that might be another month to 2 months. And then you need to get photography and get the order. And it takes, about 90 days from the time we place a final PO with the factory until it actually arrives in our warehouse. So that's another 3 months. So it is quite timely, but you don't really realize just how long it takes until it's all over and you think, gosh, it's spring and we started working on this last spring, So nothing really happens fast, especially considering that, they're on the other side of the world. And, I can't just make an appointment and go in and work with them for 3 hours and get lots done. We have to do everything just by email or pictures, or actually, shipping samples back and forth.
Mary Beth Greene owns MB Greene Handbags based in Fairhope, Alabama. They make handbags and totes and clutches, a term that you used a moment ago, and with sales all over the United States. It's really a remarkable story. I'm curious, as you sit down to design something new, Mary Beth, do you have a photograph in front of you, or is this a mental image only?
I don't typically work from a photograph. Most of the time, I am sort of compiling all of the feedback that we've gotten. I am taking new fabrics and things that, I've seen that could make a collection. For example, in July of last year, we introduced our very first pebble grain collection, which has the pebble grain texture and is super durable, but it's very sophisticated and beautiful, but yet it's still affordable. And so we launched just one bag in that particular fabric, which was our laptop tote, last July. And after all of the feedback from market during the trade show, we decided that it would be great to move forward with a full collection. And so in January, we brought in the full collection, but prior to that, we had already been designing these particular styles, and we knew we loved the styles, but we just weren't sure what type of fabric. Would we maintain, keep these styles, but use the wax canvas that we had been using? Would we use the pebble grain? We weren't really sure, but we did at least have the silhouettes ready to go with our factories. So in January of this past year, a full pebble grain collection that had some purses and another color in the lap tote, a wine tote that people had been asking for. So those have all been really different than anything else we do, because we have what's our turquoise collection, like I said, which was our very first collection. And then we have our clear collection, which is all stadium approved clear bags are more trendy. And then the pebble grain. And then the oyster collection is actually our collection that has all gray zippers, that is much more geared towards a male, and dot kits and ditty bags and hanging bags and things that.
Yeah. Who is your customer, Mary Beth? If you had to give me a profile of that customer.
You mean the actual customer who's buying our products?
That's right. Who's buying it off the rack in the retail store? What do they have in common?
Right. They are boutique shoppers that like quality and still a nice price. Most of the time they are gifting our products many times. And so a lot of times they are interested in adding personalization, but I would definitely say that our customer age range is anywhere between 13 and 75. So we really do have a very broad range customer base. Because our price points are so good, almost all of our items retail for under $100, and we have plenty of things that retail for under $50.
That's awesome. Tell me, is there a handful of people that are critical to your success that are, your right-hand man or something like that? I'd like to know who those people are, not names as much, but what they do for you.
Yes, we have a team of 4 of us in our office, 2 full-time, and then a part-time girl that comes after school. She's a junior in high school, and she comes 3 days a week. And then we also have our monogram extraordinaire that is there in the office, and she does lots of local things, but she also, like I said, does our Neiman Marcus orders. And just recently, in the last 2 weeks, we now offer monogramming as an option on our website, mbgreen.com. And you can actually purchase our 4 top best sellers, which are the large zip, the vertical essential, the tote, or the jewelry clutch. And you can choose from 2 different monogram fonts and actually have us add the monogram before it even ships. And so, especially right now with everyone trying to stay home due to coronavirus, it has been great because Easter and graduation and all of those things are still on everyone's calendar. So it's nice when you can shop, you can personalize, and then you just can drop ship it to your graduate wherever they may be. So it came at a nice time. We have been working on trying to get the right software and stuff to be able to offer that to our customers online so that we could minimize any mistakes or errors. And so that was great that we just finally actually got that finalized a couple weeks ago.
Mary Beth, does working and operating out of Fairhope benefit or strike against you as any way?
I think honestly, working out of small town Fairhope has been a benefit. Our community has been so wonderful to support our business and support us, not just with their kind comments, but also by purchasing bags through our local retailer or online and gifting those bags, which has been wonderful in helping us spread the word. And as we say at MB Green, spread the bag love. So it has been wonderful to be in this small town and be able to have that support that rallies behind you. Many other entrepreneurs would probably agree with me that sometimes as a self-employed person with a small team can sometimes feel lonely or isolated. And for me, being in Fairhope and the nostalgia that Fairhope has nationwide has really been a positive for my business, and to have that community rally behind you and whether you're at the grocery store or in a store or doing an open house or whatever, it just feels good to know that your community is proud of you and supports you in every way that they can.
Mary Beth, let me help you spread the bag love. What is the website people can see your bags on?
I love it. It is MB Green, and that's MB like Mary Beth, and then Green has an E on the end. So mbgreen, GREENE.com.
Excellent. Mary Beth, thank you so much for your time. We wish you the best. We're proud of you. You're one of our own.
Well, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing lots of bags out and about this summer on boats and on the beach.
Excellent. We do too. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Regions. We'll have final comments after this break.
Do you sometimes wonder about different money topics, but struggle to find the answers? The Every Dollar Counts podcast with Gulf Coast experts Josh Knoll and Jay Stubbs is made for those folks serious about their financial plan and looking for answers. Josh and Jay dedicate their time to explaining the various services and products available, as well as discussing lifestyle and money interests of the modern-day family. Tune in to Every Dollar Counts on Apple Podcasts and everywhere else you get your favorite podcasts.
That's the sound of rush hour. Hello, recess.
Mom!
Work from home is a lot of work. Even though we're a little further apart right now, we're still in this together. Regions is donating this ad to local food banks to shine a light on them as they feed our neighbors in need. Learn how you can help or get help at regions.com/foodbank. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
What's Working with Cam Marston is brought to you by Stella Artois Beer. Stella Artois is a perfect beer for celebration. Nothing caps off a big sale, hitting your incentive goals, or a profitable quarter like a round of Stella's. Brewed first in 1708 as a special Christmas brew, today Stella is a gift for everyone to enjoy year-round. Stella Artois. Find it wherever fine beer is sold.
the stories where the person has the vision, follows the vision, builds the plan through the vision, and it works. And I've got to compliment Mary Beth and her efforts in that regard for getting this thing built and out, and the success that she's had, particularly nationwide. So many of our guests have a local or a regional presence, which I adore, but you find somebody that's really exploded nationwide through some national level retailers, and you think, man, that's just great stuff. And it's a fun and inspiring story. There's something seems to be happening as well on the Eastern Shore. You may remember Bear Walker from a previous episode. He makes the skateboards that are so popular all over the nation. He and Mary Beth should pair up, share notes, what their marketing efforts have done. I know they're both heavily supported, let's say, by their social media presence. Mary Beth has been very generous to us, and I'm going to tell you why I say that. I'm holding in my hand a coupon that she's created, 25% off all merchandise at mbgreene.com. And let me tell you how to spell that, mbgreene.com. There's a code that you enter to get the 25% off. And in order to get that code, very simple, you text "what's working," no spaces, no apostrophes, "what's working," to 44222. You'll get a reply. You enter your email into that reply, and you'll get this coupon as well as other things that we schedule throughout the week. So let me say that again. Text "what's working" to 44222, and you will get a reply that once you follow the rules of the reply, very simple stuff, you will get the coupon for 25% off all products at mbgreene.com, mbgreene.com. The code is CAM25, and it'll tell you how to use it. And this offer is available between May 4th and May 15th of this year, 2020. So if you know anybody that's a fan of her product, and incidentally, she said her products are usually given as gifts, and we are certainly in high school, collegiate graduation season right now, which may be a perfect opportunity for you to, number one, support a local business, and two, give your special graduate, a wonderful gift by utilizing this coupon. Again, text "what's working" to 44222. If you know people that should hear this show who have perhaps a vision of their own and want to give them some fuel for their own inspiration, and this show would do so. Here's how to get to this show. We've set up a website, or a link rather, designated to the show, www.whatsworkingcam.com. Again, no apostrophes in web address and URLs. whatsworkingcam.com. You'll see this show as well as the many others that we offer. Our history of shows are all listed there. You can find any one of these shows on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Spotify, if you look for What's Working with Cam Marston on any of those services. Also, and I suspect you may know this, since the coronavirus hit on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I present live from the 106.5 studios with a focus on small business surviving in the times of the COVID economy. So Tuesdays, Thursdays, 1 p.m. for an hour. I typically have 2 to 3 guests in that time asking for their expertise, looking for numerated ideas for keeping small business alive during the time of the corona economy. The show is produced by John Thompson, a great help, and organized by Kristen Ogden. We'll have another show next week. Have a good week, everybody.